Time for part two. Niles' fluffy bear-like butt has decided to join us. But before we get into the next part of my rant, a shout out to Betamax DC, who friended me the other day. I know you actually subscribed, and I was actually meaning to subscribe back, but I forgot. So thanks for friending me, because I completely forgot. But thank you. And yeah, the mosh pitting in the supermarket with the honey sounds like a really good idea. I think I'll be into that in October. There's a supermarket in near Hattagaya Station. I think it would be perfect. So, the old atheist versus theist debates that are going on. Oh my goodness. Oh, you poor little poppets. Okay, so this is entirely my opinion. Whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong is completely irrelevant. Whether you agree with me or not is completely irrelevant, because at the end of the day, I'm still going to believe what I believe. So essentially, I would say I'm an agnostic rather than an atheist. The logical side of my brain tells me that God cannot exist. If you can't see him and you can't feel his presence or her presence, then he's not there. Atheists believe wholeheartedly that there's definitely no God, and that anybody who even remotely thinks that there's a God possibly is a bit of a nutcase. Religious people believe that if you don't believe that there is a God, or if you need proof that there's a God, then you're probably going to burn in hell. Now, I personally do not want to burn in hell. If hell exists, I do not want to be there. I would rather be sitting up on a cloud, playing a harp and having a good time with, the chief man. But logic says that it's not going to happen. But why does religion exist? Now, I think a mistake that not a lot of atheists, but some atheists make, is that religion and church are mutually exclusive, that you can't have one without the other. That's actually not true. You can be religious and have a religion, but not necessarily be in a church. A church is a political power. A church will exist regardless if there was a religion. We could argue that the governments in our own home countries are in fact like church, where we are meant to believe in what they think would be best for us. They make the decisions at the end of the day. The only difference between political parties in, say, the Australian government, for instance, and the Vatican is that people as a mass don't vote for the Vatican. It's only a bunch of high-ranking priests that do that. And you know what? I'd rather stay right out of the papal nominations, because that thing seems nasty. But but the point is, you can have a church and religion, and they can be completely separate. There's a lot of religions that actually don't have churches, and their belief systems are just as valid. If you are like-minded to me, of course, their belief systems are just as valid as any other religion. But the other purpose of a church and being assigned a religion to it is to keep control of that religion as well. If, for instance, the Christian faith went on without a church after, if this is assuming, of course, that you believe Bible stories, of course, if the church did not take, religion did not take in the church after the crucifixion of Christ, then you would have a lot of different sects of the Christian religion, like a lot more than there are now, all preaching a different type of gospel, interpreting the gospel in a different way, and you wouldn't have any control over what the gospel actually said. In fact, you would have hundreds and hundreds of Bibles, none of them correlating with each other, and a lot more infighting, in my opinion, within the religions. Look at this is going to be a bit controversial, but if you look at the Jewish religion, Islam, and the Christian religion, these are three religions that all have Jesus as a presence within their religion. Okay, so the Jews obviously said, yes, Jesus existed as a person, but he was not the Son of God. Islam acknowledges Jesus' existence and calls him a prophet, while the Christian, obviously, don't need to say it, but the Christian religion says he is the Son of God and our Savior and blah, 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 blah. So we've got three religions who came from the same area, stemmed from one religion that is long lost and separated out because there was no church to keep them in line to each other. Practice and preach some of the similar teachings and even have a man in common, and yet they will fight amongst themselves to say who is more correct. So the reason the church is there is to stop that from happening within each of those religions as well. But this is just my opinion, of course. My personal belief in religion and why, not so much that it's important, but it is important to a lot of people, is because there's this universal question that every human being has asked themselves. And even atheists ask themselves this question, and it is the question, why? Why do we exist? Why are humans capable of thought? Why, out of all the planets in our solar system, out of all the planets in our galaxy, are we the ones that have life? Can anybody actually answer that question? We can answer the question of why Earth is able to sustain life because of its proximity to the sun, and plant life creating oxygen and all that. But the why are we here? The why are we? Why am I sitting here? And why am I able to sit here in front of a computer and talk to however many people end up watching this video? Nobody can answer that. And that's the question that religion endeavors to answer, because it's a question that has driven societies insane for centuries and centuries, the why. And if there are people out there who, if they did not have an answer to that question, they would go insane and nuts. And you know what? If religion is the way that they're going to answer that question for themselves, okay. And there's the other thing as well, that when we die, you know, what happens to us when we die? We've got this consciousness. We're aware of ourselves. We're aware of ourselves within a space. But when we die, our brain shuts down. We no longer have awareness. Now, I don't know about anybody else out there, but that concept scares the shit out of me. I've got to admit it. The idea of closing my eyes one day and never waking up and never being conscious of the world around me, not having memory of sitting there with the cat on my shoulder, not having memory of the people in my family, not having memory of the trips that I've taken and the people that I've spoken to, and the copious amounts of alcohol that I've drunk over the years, and all that stuff. You know, is it all for nothing? You know, if you die and there's nothing, what was the point of living in the first place? And I think religion also helps people understand that. So, yeah, religion's important. Maybe not to everybody. Maybe you can live your life without having those answers. I've consoled myself with the fact that, yes, life at the end of the day, when you've closed your eyes and they never open again, is meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. There is nothing else. I've consoled myself with that fact. But to say that it doesn't scare me, that would be a lie. If it doesn't scare you, great. If it does and you can't accept it, then go to religion and find your peace, because you're going to be here for the next 80 or 90 years. So you may as well be happy with your life while you're here. Peace to you. I'm going to bed.